Hello, everyone. This is episode 114 of Art Cafe. Please welcome back Mike Winkelmann, better known as Beeple, on his third appearance on the podcast. Mike is a designer working primarily in visuals for live events for world-renowned artists such as Drake and Justin Bieber, to name a few. Mike is also known for Everydays, which is posting new art online every day, which he has been doing for over 13 years. We spend most of the episode hanging out and chatting about art industry and our thoughts about social media platforms such as Instagram. I hope you're gonna enjoy this one as much as I did. Let's go.
It's so nice to just be able to talk to people, since this is pretty much the only way to talk to people.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, it probably threw a wrench to your plans as well, right? Like you had some trips canceled and whatnot.
Yeah, right now today I would have been in Vegas for NAB. They've got Cinema 4D has a booth at NAB, so
right.
I would have been at that, and then going straight from that to Barcelona for off, and so it's obviously all that.
It's all over the place. What do you think is gonna go back to normal? I know they were talking about mid-summer when things are gonna start opening up and whatnot. I'm pretty sure businesses will start doing that, but I cannot see conventions.
No, I think conventions. I think it's gonna be everyone's well, how are we going to open it up? And I think it'll just be it will be the opposite of how everything closed. It will be the businesses that just closed, those will open up again, and then it'll just go in reverse of that. So I think the first things that got canceled were all these giant events. So those will be, the absolute last thing to come back.
That's true.
Any big SIGGRAPH, I don't see SIGGRAPH happening. I would be shocked if that happened.
Comic-Con for sure not happening.
No, I honestly think, I don't know. And then I think the other thing I think they'll do, maybe not. I think they're gonna the businesses that do open, they're gonna be okay, whatever your capacity is, take that and take it by a third, and that's your new maximum capacity, or a quarter. So if your restaurant would have the max capacity of 100 people, now it's 25.
Yeah, restaurants are screwed.
There's so many businesses, tons of a lot of what I do is concert visuals. I was working on Justin Bieber's tour, and that's 20 to 70,000 people stadium tour. So it's when is the next time you're going to convince 70,000 people to be in the same room? That's going to be a sack. That's going to be a fucking sack. So
not happening anytime soon.
Yeah. So it's the music, live events, music, and all the people, that I know that do music, that has just been completely fucking, that's done. That's not we're doing takeout. It's business is 20%. It's no, business is zero.
Yeah, that's true.
It's gone. Have you seen a bunch of shit go away with movies and stuff?
No, I'm actually bummed. Bummed is the wrong thing to say at those times, because I'm more busy than I've ever been.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky with the projects so far. The movie that I'm working on, it's probably the only movie in town that is still going on. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna go for a while. They were supposed to go to location already, but they were preparing to go to location, and then the whole thing hit, and obviously that threw a giant wrench into the whole production.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure like we're probably gonna go on for few more weeks, and then if they don't start opening, businesses and allow people to be in gatherings and like at least small gatherings, because that's the part with the live action film that just basically shuts down everything almost, is that once it goes on location, you need people to start building sets and all those things. And the problem is like if you cannot gather people, then you cannot do anything pretty much, Yeah. And once it's go filming, like I don't see a filming happening this summer at all anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because films, once you get actors in and directors and whatnot, the set, 100 plus people on the set during filming easily, if not more, right? I mean, there's this technology that they've used for Mandalorian with
Everybody's pretty jacked on that. Everybody's jacked on that.
That significantly reduced the amount of people that are required to be on the set,
But isn't that just kind of like, maybe I'm like downplaying it a bit, but it seems like it's kind of just like a fancy green screen.
It is pretty much. I mean, it's not really a green screen because
it's camera like reacting, blah blah blah. But it's really,
But the way they do it is the whole idea is that you're not replacing the background. The background is already made.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like that would have not be without significant downsides. Like if you want to change something in the background, then.
Well, they do it in Mandalorian, for instance, did it in Unreal Engine, right? So they actually could change some of the backgrounds. I think that's what it was. But I've seen demos where they would have the setup. Yeah, they would have a setup in Unreal Engine and then like on the fly, let's move those rocks away or something like that. The only problem, I don't think it's a real problem. It might be a problem for now, but not in the upcoming years. Is that obviously Unreal is a game engine to begin with, so there's significant amount of limitations compared to like your regular VFX pipeline. So there's only as much you can do to get a certain amount of realism and whatnot. So that's the only limitation, but things has progressed in the last 2 years just with Unreal Engine alone.
But what if you're like, what if you shoot it and you're like, you take, you shoot whatever, and then you're like, you know what? I want something totally different in the background, or I want to build the background. Now you have it fused together and you're like, oh shit, I can't change that so easily. Unless I'm missing something and there's some other way.
Like even pre-production for that kind of stuff changes. Like they when pre-production for films happens right now, if the film has an intention to use those digital sets, those Unreal digital sets, they actually start building assets during pre-production, meaning like, because normally what you would have art department opening up, I'm only looking at the artist perspective, right? Because writing and all that stuff that's a completely different thing. But you would have art department, you would work on, doing illustrations, concepts, and you would have set designers, preparing to what the set's going to be built like. And then before, studios were shooting on different locations around the world. Because right now, let's say you start a movie in LA, and then after a couple of months it goes to Atlanta or to New Orleans or like all over the place, right?
Sure.
Mostly because of incentives, right?
Yeah.
So once it goes on location where they're gonna be building sets, that's where they start building physical sets, the green screens, all that stuff, and then once everything is ready, they fly in actors, record shit, and then take everything down, right?
Yeah.
Now with the digital sets, it's kind of different because by the time that they fly in actors, they have to have everything ready. Like for those shots that are going to have.
That's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's dumb.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess it gives you flexibility to do multiple shots with different lighting, at the same time.
Yeah.
And have those, but you have to have those ready.
Yeah.
So I've seen productions where they would literally, you would have concept artists making illustrations, and then you would have people working parallel to them building those sets for Unreal Engine, like actually making like you would have VFX studios coming in right away, like right in the pre-production instead of waiting for post-production.
Sure.
So that's like a major change.
I think it's I mean, I think it's cool, and I think it's definitely like never hurts to have more options of how to like do something, but
right.
I don't know, it doesn't to me seem like this like magic bullet of like, oh man, this solves all of our problems, because it's got its own set of problems. You have to build all this stuff up front, and then if something changes, or like say you want a actual explosion in the screen, now you've got all these like things behind you that it's sort of like, okay, that's, you have real screens behind you and stuff like that it's sort of like you have to be sort of like careful of. And it also seems like if you're building all these giant actual screens, like it doesn't seem like that would be like crazy cheap either, that you've got, massive amounts of like LED walls and stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's always good to have options, but
I mean, it brings its pros and cons, obviously. As you said, you cannot, I guess, after you're done, like rotoscoping everything from scratch, that's all different.
And say you wanted something in the background that had like a huge amount of light. Like I don't see how you would be able to do something. Like it seems like the lighting would be much less dynamic in a way, because you're sort of like limited by the light output of these like LED screens. Although maybe, I mean, I don't know shit about it.
I've seen it's pretty accurate. I mean, it's the big part about it is very accurate. I mean, I guess the worst case scenario would be just playing with the gamma and whatever, and then exposure of the camera, right? So you can make like the whole thing darker, and then have one light source to be more significant, and then you just lift everything up. Like, I don't know. There's obviously options.
I don't know shit about that stuff.
I'm not as technically versed in terms of like how it's all set up on that technical level, but it seems to me that, it brings, I feel it's one of those things where once you get actors in and get the actual shot, that's your shot. No changes afterwards.
Then you're done. There's no bullshit afterwards. It's like, that's absolutely done. There's no tracking. There's no, okay, how do we fucking fudge this in there? Like,
yeah. And, I think it might be good. One of my favorite cinematographers, God, I'm blanking out right now.
Very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
Yeah, I'm blanking out. Holy crap. You know what?
This is embarrassing. Okay, shut the podcast down.
I'm shutting it down.
Shut the YouTube channel down. Shut the entire YouTube
All right,
channel.
I remember now. Roger Deakins.
Okay, well, that's one that's easy to forget. He hasn't done much stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Forget.
I know. Roger Deakins. For whatever reason, my brain was like, Richard Dawkins? Like, that's not a
They're similar.
Yeah,
one has baby Jesus.
But what he does is he doesn't do multiple takes and multiple cameras. He only has one camera on the set, and
that's the guy that did 1917, right?
Yeah. And that was one of his arguments about cinematography in general, that like he likes to have with the director a control over what the shot's going to be, and make sure that they know before they start shooting what they want to see through the camera.
This is the thing that we're doing. We're not gonna like try 16 different things and like see what sticks, or like have plan B, C, D, E, F, whatever.
Yeah, because like a lot of movies are done that way, meaning like you would have 5 or 6 cameras recording at the same time from different angles, and then you would have like the second unit recording like all that extra stuff that that second unit does extra stuff. Like, you don't need actors to record someone's foot, right? Yeah, why would you do that? You can get like a double or someone, whatever, costs like 10 times less money than getting like Scarlett Johansson or someone like paying millions just to record their foot.
Wait, so how often do you, when you work on these movies, how often do you like go on the like sets? Like
I've only been once.
Never.
I've only been once.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You've only been once on one set?
yeah.
I guess I assumed you went on set more often. What movie was that for?
Ghost in the Shell. That was back in 2016 or 15. I went with Ash. Yeah, we went to New Zealand with Ash to see the sets. That was a good experience.
You were on set while they were like shooting stuff?
Yeah, we were with director.
No, nice. How long were you out there for?
A couple of days.
Okay.
So we would hang out, and then like in the afternoon, evening, we would go on the set and just like literally just sit there and watch the whole thing, you know, going on.
That
was fun.
Sweet. Was it pretty sweet to like? I've never been on like a set of like anything. I would love to like I would pay to go on a set of some fucking thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be like so interesting just seeing like the scope of. I'm sure there's so many things like that.
Yeah.
Like I would never even think. It's like, what the fuck is that guy doing? Oh, his job is to blah blah blah. It's like, oh yeah, I guess you need that. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. There's usually a guy who's just like yelling at everyone to shut the fuck up, basically. Like for reals. Like I don't know what that position is called, but all they do is to make sure that no one's like walking by or doing weird shit. Like once you start rolling that camera, you roll the camera and everything has to work. Because if you're wasting time, that's just like you look at the set, you look at those giant RE lights that probably cost like $200 per second in electricity alone, you know?
Yeah.
And you look at all the people, actors, and all the equipment, and it's like, oh, that's like $1 million, $2 million a day, you know?
What scenes were they shooting?
I think we saw a tank scene, and there was something else. Oh, and the whole sort of like last.
Wait, was it on a green screen or was it outside?
So like there's two sets. We saw the green screen part.
Okay.
With there's like this giant tree with the ruins, like the little temple that was inside. That was like inside a set. So we saw that and the tank scene, and then there was the sort of like the causeway that was built outside, but they've done recording that already before, so we didn't see that. Yeah, it was kind of bummer because like they had a rooftop thing built, and like when we came in, they just finished taking it down.
Oh, really?
So that was a bummer because we wanted to see that. I mean, normally, I guess if you work in film in the art department, it's very rare you would go to the set unless you continue working with director throughout the whole show.
Yeah,
which can happen. And so yeah, sometimes you would be on the set. It just depends on the production. But for me, like almost vast majority of the projects that I worked on were done from home. There's no reason for me to go to set, you know?
Sure.
If anything, you would have set designers going there.
Well, aren't usually, correct me if I'm wrong here, but aren't you usually done or mostly done by the time they're shooting it?
If you're not done concepting by the time they're shooting it, you're in trouble.
That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign.
Because again, like once actors come in, like actors, they cost a lot of money. Like they cost a lot of money. Yeah, they cost a lot of money. That's most of your budget outside of VFX.
It's not so much.
I know. I mean, VFX is like half of the budget right now. Maybe that's why they're doing those Unreal sets, just to cut that nut by a large margin, you know?
Oh, I think that's a big piece of it. I mean, trying to do it cheaper. I'm sure they're always trying to like, what could we do to like do this cheaper?
Yeah.
Wait, I saw you won some award for something. What was that for? Like Marvel or something? What was that for?
Like so that's what the guild does. They do like I guess it's more like internal awards, like the guild awards for what a production design said.
Which guild was that? What guild?
That's the art directors guild.
No, nice.
That's the one so like if you work in film, you in LA you have to be in the guild in order to do that.
Okay.
So yeah, that's sort of like it's one of those.
Are you in like? Are people in like a bunch of guilds or just one?
Well, concept artists would be in the art director guild. You know, actors would be in the actors guild.
But you're not in like there's that's really it for like ours is the art directors guild.
Well, I could be technically in costume designers guild.
Oh, okay.
And there's also animation guild for like animation work.
Yeah.
But that's about it, I think.
Okay. Gotcha.
I don't think it matters that much anymore, honestly. Like most of the films are still done the old way, meaning because all the producers and most of the directors are in LA, you know, so it's pretty obvious that it's gonna start here.
Yeah.
They wanna have a meeting without flying anywhere.
Sure. So wait, what was that for? What was the award specifically for like the design of some specific thing?
So when they give an award like that, it's usually for like the whole crew that are working on the project. So it's like, you know, they consider all the films that came out that year and then look at it and say, all right, this, to our estimate, this one looks the best, you know?
Gotcha.
The production design was the best for this one, so therefore production designer and his crew on that show and whoever was credited to be on that show is gonna get an award. It's not, it's I was like, I got it, it's like, oh cool, you know, like it's pretty cool, you know. I wasn't expecting it. I did like a couple of weeks of work for the Avengers. Weapons, mostly weapons. But it was funny because like I did it so many years ago, because when I was working on this project, they were doing both at this, design for both films at the same time. I mean, it's pretty, makes sense because both films were so connected.
Sure.
You know, Infinity War and Endgame. So, you know, once I did that, I was credited for both movies, basically.
Oh god! So that was like years ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Wow.
Yeah, that was before we spoke last time, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Dude, have you worked on any movies so far?
I worked on that Spider-Man animated one, and then I worked on one last
Into the Spiderverse.
Spiderverse, yeah, and then I worked on one last summer that. To be honest, I'm not sure what happened with that movie. It seemed like it was like super early in the production. Yeah. And by the end of it, it was just like me and the director. And so I feel like this project
probably on pause.
Not going to happen. So I don't know. I haven't heard any more since then. I think it sounds like it.
That's movies right there, man, and animations. Like 90% of them just never go anywhere.
Well, and it was funny because I'm talking to the director, and I've been on it for probably a couple months at that point, and I'm sort of like, finally I'm kind of like, so what percentage, like how definite is this movie? And he's like, well, it depends on who you ask. If you ask me, it's 100%. We are making a movie. He's like, if you ask my boss, it's like 70 to 80%. Like, she's like pretty good. He's like, if you ask the head of Sony, this was at Sony. He's like, if you ask the head of Sony, it's 50-50. It's like, this could happen or not happen. Like
50-50 on the good day.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's like he needs to be sold. Like, this is not happening until he So I don't know. It seemed like it would have been good to me. It's like, oh man, I could see this. Like the script seemed really I feel like this could be like a really good movie, but I don't know. It's tough.
Because you mostly work, and correct me if I'm wrong, but mostly on like, as you said, like concert tours for artists, right? Like the visuals and whatnot. Like walk me through that stuff. Walk me through the, like, let's say you're doing you were preparing for Justin Bieber tour, for instance, right? What how does the work look like for you?
So
I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah. So for that stuff, like, and I would still say a lot of what I do is concert visuals, but it's definitely, there's a lot more like weird sort of like one-off things like Omar or like the fucking Louis Vuitton or just weird things where it's not like that's what I do. It just seems like these weird sort of like one-off things. But for the concert visuals, like for the Justin Bieber thing, like I was working with these buddies that I work with, that I've worked with for years, Possible, Fig and them. I don't know if you've ever met them. Actually, they had a party and I invited you and you didn't show up. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that you fucking son of a bitch.
I already knew coronavirus was there. So
yeah. Last summer. Yeah, you fucker. Yeah, then you were the fucking one who made it, you son of a bitch. So anyway, they're the ones, and I work with them. Like we did the Super Bowl earlier this year. Like they do like big shows, and so I'm just kind of like a person on the team who does more of the like kind of like higher level like designs or like looks for like songs. So basically, like they'll like somebody from management or whatever, they'll usually have like a like mood board for each song, and then it will be like, then they'll get like somebody like me will take the mood board and come up with like, okay, how are we going to actually like, you know, make this song look or whatever. And so I'll do like a couple like frames or like setups or like small animation tests of like, okay, here's what we can do during this section of the song, here's what we can do, blah blah blah. And then it usually gets handed off to somebody else to like animate and like have it sync to the music. A lot of the shows that they do are like time coded, where it's sort of like you hit play, show goes, lights go, blah blah, sound goes, like so
like when you're there in the live event and you see all the visuals going on, it's all like almost like pre-recorded and synced.
Not almost pre-recorded and synced. It is pre-recorded and synced. It is like that show is like press play, lights go, pyro goes, everything goes, the sound goes, because again, usually they're just like singing over like a backing track. So it's like everything, and they've got like, they could stop it and like sort of like start it, like they've got control over it, but it's like, it's time coded. It's pretty like, it's going.
So let's say if Deadmau5 is doing his set, then you know
Deadmau5 is different. Deadmau5 specifically.
All right, Justin Bieber is doing his set, and then for whatever reason, he has like a mind lapse and like forgets lyrics and stops for a second. The show just keeps going.
Yeah, I mean, and to his credit, like the amount of crap they have to like do, like they have to think about like dancing and singing, and I need to stand here, and now I need to move here so I don't get fucking lit on fire by this, and I need to fucking be up on this like platform at this time so this thing can come. Like these shows are like people on fucking bungee cords, and okay, I'm gonna go over here and get harnessed to this thing, and it's gonna fucking take me up, and like he's got a lot on his mind besides just like fucking singing the like shit. That's just one small piece of the like.
And then you need to sing well. And then someone accuses you of
things that you're like doing over the course of like, you know, 3 hours. That it's like you or I, maybe I won't speak for you, but I would just be like, after like fucking 5 minutes of that shit, like dead.
Makes I mean, not talking specifically about Justin Bieber, but makes sense to why some artists would get dubbing, you know?
Oh yeah,
like pre-recorded tracks. Like fuck, there's just too much going on.
Oh, and you're like fucking running around. Like you don't even have the lung capacity to like fucking like completely sing these things when it's just like. And to be honest, it's sort of like nobody knows or gives a shit. Not that they don't know. They
not anymore, I would say.
Like it doesn't really make it. It's one of those things where if you're known, if you're like, you know, Adele or somebody like that who like. People are there to hear your voice, then your voice is mostly live. And then maybe like there's a backing track, but it's at like, you know, 20% volume versus like, you know, if you're at a Justin Bieber concert or something like that, you're there for like a crazy fucking spectacle and Cirque du Soleil people and fucking crazy pyro. And now he's attached to this platform and like, just like a crazy like show.
That makes sense.
So I think it's one of those things where it's like, it depends on the show, but yeah, so it's all like I almost never go to the actual shows. Like the only times I've gone to like work on like on set has been like more of the like shows that I wanted to because they were like cool shows like the Super Bowl or like DNC.
Right.
Those are the only ones that I've like been to. So yeah, usually on my end, I'm coming up with, 4 or 5 different sort of like ideas and concepts. It's basically like concept art for like concert for instead of like movies, it's for like tour visuals. Like, okay, thinking like, okay, how's it going to look with him? Like scale wise and like what's going to happen? Like, here's an idea of what we could do with the lighting possibly. And like, and then it just, these are massive fucking productions that, then it gets handed off to 10 other people. And
right. That makes sense. Yeah, I cannot imagine how many people work on that crap,
Oh, it's huge amounts of like, people doing the like, just even the playback of this is like massive, like, these are 16K like fucking files that you need to have like
instantly,
fucking like sync to music. So it's just like there's so many like crazy technical things with that it's like I don't know any of that shit, like how the fuck that stuff's like actually done. So,
yeah makes me I mean, I've never worked on anything like that, but I've seen some. I mean, I've been to a fair amount of live shows already, mostly like metal and rock and whatever. But like, for instance, a good example is 9 Inch Nails, where their visuals and lighting shows are pretty fucking solid. Like, they're not EDM level in terms of like craziness with the visuals, but or even just Tool. Tool does a lot of visuals
stuff. Like I haven't seen Nails in a while. I saw them like 15 years ago, like super into Nails, and like their shows were like they're not as like spectacle-y, but they're really like are super artistic and super really fucking like tight as far as that, and really like cool and like just like super tight, like very like,
so even seeing that, it was like, oh wow, like there's probably a lot of work, but based on what you're saying, that sounds like a nightmare to make sure everything is like on point and there's no glitch and whatsoever.
It's definitely crazy.
It was funny as I went to a concert of like a smaller band recently with my friend Aaron. We went to see Cult of Luna, and it's like a metal, it's more like a niche kind of. I mean, they're not big.
Fucking crazy Polish battle.
I don't know. Anyways, we were watching the opener, and there was this guy who was just like switching lights, manually, just making sure that the lights are switching. And we're just like joking around because he looked like the laziest lighting guy. You just press one button and just look at it, and they're like, oh, let me just change the light now, like randomly.
Yeah, it's tough. Like those guys that play, like I know, like Zed, I do a lot of work for them, and like the lighting guys and that, like, and the video guy, the VJ too. Like those are different because like Zed's changing his like set each night, and that guy is just like fucking crazy. Like he can be like standing talking to me, like having a beer, and he's still like one hand over here like, playing it, and like so precise, and he's just like, and it's like insane how like synced they are with like him, and like you would think it was like totally synced, like if you were watching it. It's like, no, he's playing all that shit live, like but he does it like 250 nights a year.
Yeah, it's a muscle
sometimes
memory,
twice
I guess.
a day, like they'll fucking play a show in Vegas and then fly to fucking LA and like play another that night.
For him, it's like your everydays, It's like, hey, can you make a picture? Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it's just like no fucking like thought, like playing this like show or whatever.
How did you end up working with Louis Vuitton? Because that's the one I saw. I was like, what? Like that makes no sense.
They just contacted me and they just like
I mean, it does and it doesn't. Let me. I want to be fair here.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't actually make any sense. they just contacted me and they were just like, wanted to use these pictures or whatever, and that was that. And it was just like, really? Are you gonna do that? And it was like, and then they did, and it was like, wow, okay, I did not think they would have like used that. It was just like so out of the like blue or whatever. So yeah, it was super interesting.
It looked dope though. Like,
yeah, it's definitely like it was one of those things where it was like, how are you gonna put these like robots and shit on like women's clothes? But then in the end, like it turned out like super cool. And it's like, oh man, that's what I think was what was really interesting. Like the more, because I didn't know anything about like fucking fashion, I still don't. But it was like learning more about their brand. Like we went to the like New York store and they had like they had a trunk there that was like 110 years old or something. Like this was like a trunk from like 1905, and that trunk had that same brown Louis Vuitton pattern. It looks literally almost exactly the same as it did 100 years ago. So you've got their brand is this weird mix of like literally not changing at all in 100 years, and then also doing these like super weird like forward thinking like things that like nobody would think to do, that are like seem very each year it seems like they're like super pushing the envelope forward, like in terms of like design. So it's this like weird mix of like the past, but then like 10 years into the future, like aesthetic.
Yeah, in most cases, when you think about luxury, clothing brands like or bags or whatever, Louis Vuitton comes to your mind usually first.
Yeah.
Maybe Gucci, maybe Armani, whatever. Armani is mostly suits, right?
I don't know, dude. I know a little bit about Louis Vuitton. I don't know shit about any of the others.
I exhausted my knowledge about this. That's as much as I know.
Yeah.
The only thing I think it was Armani. Was it Armani who designed like the Nazi suits like back in the World War II? It was one of those.
Yeah, it was one of those. I feel like it was some of it. I think was like
complete bro science, by the way.
Hugo Boss, I think, did some of that.
Maybe that. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just armchair bro science,
Armchair bro history.
Bro history. Yeah, that sounds correct. All right, so the last time we did an episode was like I guess 2 years ago, maybe a little more than that, and I remember. I mean, we've done 2 episodes already, like very early on. I think like 5 or something years ago, some crazy shit like that, and then kind of followed up and then followed up again. One of the things that happened that obviously cannot go without notice is like the amount of followers you've gained on Instagram. What the hell's going on there?
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. I think.
Are you getting that clout now? Are you getting recognized in public?
I did get recognized once. I did. I was in LA, and I just gotten to LA, and I like went to go get a coffee, and I was standing waiting for an Uber, and so he's like, "Beeple," and he like kind of like kept walking, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Beeple," and he like kind of then he like turned back, and I'm like, "Did you just say Beeple?" And he's like, yeah, I just like watched the video, and I was way more excited than he was. Like he was just kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool, like, and I was just like, but yeah, nah, that's really the only time.
For an average person, you look more like Bill Gates' son.
That's true. I do get that a lot. I get people shouting shit like that, or commenting on that.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, it's definitely weird.
I don't think I've ever been recognized in public. I mean,
honestly,
I don't want to.
That much.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and it's sort of like I think I think to be recognized in public, you have to have like a shitload of people following you, because it's like, think about a popular actor, like. I mean, even they can like walk around and like people won't even fucking notice them like a lot of the time. People who are like, you know, super, super popular that you've seen like a million times, like
Yeah.
a lot of them can like walk around and like they're totally fine, and it's not like people like, you know, all over them, whatever. So I think you need to be like quite get more popular than fucking making some friggin' wee pictures. That's trying fucking wee pictures. That's not gonna do it. That's not gonna do it.
Yeah. I don't think artists get recognized now. Even some of the most popular ones, like I would say, I don't know, David Cho, for instance, like he's super popular. Or even just like,
I don't even know what he looks like.
He's Asian dude.
Well, I know that much, bro. He's an Asian dude. Oh, well, that actually narrows it down a lot. Because I've never seen an Asian dude.
Dude, I'm so uninformed, and I like the way I describe people is usually on point.
That's true. He's an Asian dude.
But for instance, if you were an athlete with 1.5 million followers, the likelihood of people recognizing you on the street would be much higher.
Well, and that's where I think it's like, I think it's because you could be much more famous and just not as good at social media. I think,
right.
You know what I mean? Like you could be more famous and it's just like you're not as popular on social media. It doesn't mean you're not more famous. It just means you're not good at getting Instagram followers. And that's where I think it's like, I think a lot of the stuff I've been doing sort of like lately is just stuff that like lends itself to be shared more and like is something that is more like accessible outside of our industry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like people who aren't like interested in like concept art can be like, oh, what the fuck is this? That's kind of cool. Like, you know what I mean? It's a little bit more like digestible and a little bit more like you don't need to understand like concept art and like stuff like that to get something out of it versus like nothing against like your artwork is like obviously super fucking beautiful and like it's seen in these movies.
I'm already offended.
Millions of people, but it's sort of like the average person, if they just saw one of your paintings, like unless they're into concept art, they don't really like it might not be something that like
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like something that they would understand at all or really like be able to like have as much of a like sort of like immediate connection with.
No, I get it. And going back to the, you know, being famous, I also feel like most of the artists are just sit at home and don't go out to recognize people.
Well, yeah, I try and get you out all the time, and you're just like, no, I'm not.
I just work too much, man.
That's fucking part of it.
Literally that night when we were supposed to go, I got a call to like, hey, we need some last minute shit, you know, and that was a bummer.
That sucks.
Yeah, I'm usually way too busy.
The world gets unfucked here, which might take a second, but eventually get unfuckified.
Yeah, maybe once they get like a good treatment, you know.
Wait, do you do like talks ever? Do you ever like go to like conferences and like?
I've been once.
You've only done it once?
Yeah.
Where?
THU. Trojan Horse. Okay. Yeah, 2017. That was the only time I went.
That's the only one you've ever been to. Is that one?
Yeah. What's up?
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was a little too long for my taste because it was like 6 days.
Oh, really? It
was like 5 or 6 days. Yeah, it was a whole week basically.
Conference is 6 days.
Yeah,
that's really long. I don't think I've ever been to one that long.
Yeah. I haven't been. I mean, I like being in places. I don't like traveling to places.
Gotcha.
I don't like travel almost at all. I'm not like a travel person.
Gotcha.
So for me to go to like a conference, like it just interferes with too many things that I want to do otherwise. That is just like, it's sort of like, is it even worth, you know?
Sure.
I guess at some point it is worth, whether it's just meeting with people. I mean, that's I guess that's the most interesting part, is the meeting with people, because like the presentation itself is just, it's just a slideshow. You just prepare it. You just if you prepare your talk, you talk about, you make your point, right?
Yeah.
But the bulk of why you would do that is just to meet with people and
100%.
and have a conversation with them. So
yeah, I like it more now because I just do my picture live, and so it's like fun to like, you know, just do some dumb shit, whatever. Like it's a lot more fun than like just giving the presentation or whatever. But yeah, even that, you're talking about like 45 minutes, an hour. And this is something that will take up, you know, even a short conference will take up probably 4 or 5 days with travel, you know, especially if it's like overseas or something like that. Like it will take like a good couple days or whatever. But yeah, to me, it's just like super fun, you know, meeting people from like all over the world to like, you know, see. And it's fun, like going someplace that's like super foreign, and then you have like a connection with these people, and you can like immediately start talking, and it's like they've seen the same films, they've seen the like, they know the same artists. You know, I could go all the way to the other side of the world and be like, oh, Mache, blah, blah, yeah, I know Mache, yeah. And it's like, that's to me what's like super fun, like seeing like meeting people, you know, that are very similar in such a like dissimilar like place, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the only experience I had was with Portugal with THU, and it was pretty awesome. Like just talking to people and you know, seeing pretty much everyone from everywhere. You know, we're people from Asia, from like South Africa.
Oh yeah,
you know, all of those places. And yeah, it's like you said, is you have instant connection. You have the same sort of interests that you can connect and talk about.
Yeah,
I like that part. It was a little bit exhausting.
Well, that's because 5 days is like crazy fucking long. Most of them are like 2 or 3 days. Like
I only had one talk, so it wasn't like I had to prepare a lot of work or anything. So most of the time I was just hanging out. My only thing is that, you know, it's not that I don't like crowds. I don't like crowds for too long. Like if I'm in a crowd for like half an hour to an hour, maybe if it's like a concert, I can still sort of like, it's okay, you know?
Yeah.
But if I'm in a crowd for too long, it's just exhausting. I want to get out, you know?
Sure.
And it's like a game. Now it's just a game of like, just, you know, keeping appearances and not freak out.
Sure. Yeah.
It's more like an introvert personality, I guess, in a way.
A lot of the conferences, like there's ways to sort of like, you know, kind of like find a smaller group or whatever, and sort of like, because there's tons of people who are like that. JAMA, like we went to I did a talk he was at in Brazil earlier last year, and he's like, oh, they didn't like, after the thing, it was like I saw him in the beginning and then I didn't see him at all the like rest of the time, and it was like, he's like, yeah, they didn't have like anything like planned for us. It kind of sucked. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Every night of the conference they had a party for all 3,000 people at this conference. Full alcohol, Wacom battles, like crazy fucking DJ. It was just like, dude, they had like huge parties every night for us. You weren't there though. And so it was like, but that's like not his scene. Like he doesn't like you're saying, like he doesn't like big crowds like that. Then I saw him at another thing in like Russia. And it was just like, we were able to just kind of like go like one-on-one, like have dinner or whatever. And it was like much more sort of like his speed, or like the amount of people he felt like comfortable hanging out with. But then like doing stuff like that, like it's like super fucking cool. So it was like, you know, got to like talk to him a lot and like really meet him and like connect, like, you know, on a different level, just having like dinner or whatever.
Yeah, that might be it too. You know, like, once there's more than 5-6 people, there's literally no connection. It's just shouting through.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think you can find like, you can find those experiences at the conference. You just like it might not be in the like big main party or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And like a lot of the conferences, like in the green rooms or whatever, it's usually like, you know, just the like speakers or whatever. So then it's like 10 people or whatever. And it's, you know, a lot of times I'll like hang out there because it's like a little bit more you know, able to like meet some of the other artists that you like sort of like came to see or whatever. So it's definitely, I don't know. That's one thing that I'm like super bummed with the coronavirus is all the fucking shows like that.
Yeah,
definitely sucks.
we were planning to be at the Lightbox this year, which is it's not far. But yeah, who knows if that's gonna happen too.
I don't think that's gonna happen, especially in LA. I would say there's.
I mean, the business is probably by then going to be open, and I don't think there's going to be like too many restrictions, but I'm pretty sure people are just going to be spooked.
When is it? In September?
Yeah.
No.
End of September.
No chance. Yeah. How many people are supposed to be at that? Like 10,000?
Yeah, last year was crazy.
And was it last year the first year?
Yeah.
Yeah, last year was like the first year. I thought it was like 8,000 or 10,000 people. And it's like, I heard like shit. I bet this year would probably be like 12 or 15. It seemed like everybody like fucking, like I heard so much. It seemed like pretty dope.
Yeah, it was great. The way Bobby organized it last year was amazing.
So wait, so did you have like a booth? I still don't fully understand how it's like structured.
No, we weren't planning anything for last year, and Bobby reached out like, "Hey,
wait, who's we?"
Like me and Andrew.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
With Learn Squared, yeah. And Bobby reached out and, you know, asked like, hey, like, do you guys want to do something? And it was just like such a short notice by then. I did like a portfolio review session over there. So that was my sort of like the only on conference.
Wait, so you did like, wait, what's a portfolio review session?
So I had like a small booth for like an hour. And then there was the line of artists that wanted to get like their work reviewed by me.
Basically. No, God, that sounds terrible. That
it was okay.
Sounds fucking terrible. Like I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that.
I mean, it's sort of the thing that I've been doing with the mentorships already, so it wasn't like an alien experience for me, you know?
Yeah,
I didn't mind that at all.
I don't know. I just don't really feel comfortable. Like, I like to see other people. Oh, your thing went out.
No, it's okay.
I'll
fix it.
See other people's like work, but like critiquing it, I have a hard time being like, you should do this. Right. Because I fundamentally believe like their work is no better than my work. So it's sort of like me saying like, do this is kind of I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. One of the things I've noticed with myself is I'm more reluctant to give advice to people than I used to be, because the more I live and gain experience and read books and get like familiar with psychology and all of those things, the more I realize how different people are. You know, this one thing about
wait, did you fix the thing because it blanked back on?
Yeah, it's overheating. I need to wait. Yeah, I need to change that Skype camera thing. It's bugging me.
What were you saying?
But what I was saying, like, you know, when you read self-help books and those like inspirational books, they always like tell you what to do, and then you read another one and it tells you something completely opposite, you know? And you quickly realize it's just like, oh, it only works for you and for people who have exactly same mindset as yours. It's not for I mean, you make it sound like it's for general public. And obviously there's certain things that are sort of like common denominators that repeat across the books, you know?
Sure.
And okay, that's the advice I would take, because it seems like different people with different mindset have the same idea. So there's something.
Yeah.
I think it goes the same with the advice towards, hey, what am I supposed to do? Like which software to learn? Like all of those things. All right, I can tell you to learn that, but you might not like the experience, and then that might skew you towards different direction that you would normally go, and maybe that different direction is less successful, you know?
Or maybe it's what you don't really want, because it's like sometimes people don't, they can't even articulate or don't maybe even want to admit to themselves what they want. Maybe they don't even like this, or maybe they don't like, they would rather be fucking fishing or something. I don't know. So it's sort of like, fishing. I don't know. I just have a hard time being like, especially with art, just being like, oh yeah, you should change this or do this, when it's like, maybe you should keep doing that and lean into it, and then it will create this other different style that I couldn't even think of. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to like stifle people into making things that I want. I want them to make the things that they really want and that they're super passionate about. And then maybe that will be like you know, something that I gravitate towards because they like really like put their like all into this thing that I couldn't even think of.
I agree. Yeah, that's exactly one of the points. And you know, I understand if someone says like, you know, I wanna work in, let's say, films, and you know, I want to make real, like they have already a goal in mind. Then you can give a critique and say, and that's what basically the portfolio reviews where it's like, all right, you know, if you want to work in films and you want to do that realistic work, you know, based on what I see, you have to work on lighting, you have to work on this, you have to work on that, because it's not there. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, when person asks you like, hey, can you check my work and tell me what you think, it's like, I can tell you that it's not there.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
But that's about it.
Yeah, I'm just not good at it. So a lot of times it's just like, well, my advice would just be to get better.
Right.
That's not super helpful. It's just like, oh yeah, no, this definitely just needs to be a lot better. And not like my work is like so fucking like technically proficient or whatever, but it's like I'm not, that's the thing. I think it's like I'm not technically proficient enough to give actionable like feedback.
What you mean.
That it's like, I don't know, a lot of times, like, I'll look at my work and I'll be like, this fucking sucks. I don't know why. I just don't like it. I know it's not good. I just don't know why. To like, actually, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take while we were doing this. God damn it, you son of a bitch. I wanted to take and have you do like a paint over on like some of my stuff. Or
okay, we could try that. We could try that. Why don't we just collab some shit?
What's up?
Like just collab some cool shit or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like that would be cool, because I would love to see, like, I feel like you're so good at like taking like a base 3D thing and then just like taking it like, you know, way fucking like better, like with like paint over, like I think that's like a like, and like dialing in the like values and stuff like super good. Like that's one thing that I feel like you're like, you know, really like super good at. So I would love to see like, if I did something, how you could take it and do like a paint over and make it like 1,000 times better.
Yeah, we can talk after, figure it out. It could be interesting. You know, I'll be doing some collabs this year. That's one of the things I kind of want to do. Try like collaborating with some of the artists.
Actually, no, friends. Fuck that. I'm not gonna do that. You need to finish that damn film.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's coming along. Yeah.
How long is it gonna be?
No, I mean we can do it. What I'm saying, like I want to do a collab, but not now. Like now, we would say like, hey, I'm gonna pay you. I would say like, go fuck yourself, basically. But it's a short. I think it's like a minute. Over a minute or something like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's it's way more work than I thought. Like I actually planned for like 3 minutes, and you know, Ash is helping me out a lot.
3 minutes is a long time.
And I did like the first edit, and he's like, "Looks cool. You're never gonna make it." And cut it to a minute, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was cutting it, and now I'm like, fuck. There's so much work. Because like, here's the thing, and you know this, you can make everything quick, but like once you get to that 80% amount of detail, and then you want to push that extra 10%, that's like 3 times more work all of a sudden.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's where I've been like, to be honest, having more fun playing in the 80% with the work that I do, like just like you've seen the like videos that I do, like they're not polished by any stretch of the imagination, like in any way. If you look closely at them, you'll see all kinds of fuck ups that it's just like, okay, that's just like fucking janky as shit. And to me, they're like sketches. It's just like, here's a like proof of concept, here's a like thing, and it's meant for like, it's meant for social media. It's meant to like be seen on a fucking phone, that your fucking brightness is turned down and your fucking screen's cracked and it's compressed to shit. Like, it's not meant to be viewed like 4K on a fucking, you know, 80-inch TV, because it will just look like absolute fucking ass. It's just meant to be like this like quick idea of like, oh, here's a thing that could be, like, you could expand this into something bigger, or here's just like, it's like a sketch. It's basically like a video sketch. And to me, that's like been much more interesting and fun, because like, I don't have that much, like, it's not fun to me dialing in those last, you know, 20%, 10% or whatever, because it's just like so fucking grueling. And then to me, it becomes much more about these technical problems that I need to solve, in terms of like, okay, why is the resolution of this? And okay, I need to sim this out at a fucking blah, blah, blah. Okay, I need to fucking, why is this clipping this thing? It's like, and
then it crashes, and then like you lost 2 hours, like, and you're pissed.
It takes fucking forever to render, and it's just like a big fucking like, you know, okay, this spot doesn't look right, or the lighting's not quite like dialed in here how I like. And like, that to me, like, is not, it's more fun the first part of it, when it's like an exciting idea and it's an idea I can realize by myself and be done with in like a week.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
The like fucking short film, I fucking started that literally 4 years. Like, that's and then it's also like, it's one of these where it's like, if you work on something that long, I think you're like less likely to like take chances and do something super weird and off the wall, because it's like, oh man, I've been fucking working on this for 4 years. I'm not gonna put in this weird thing that might fucking like ruin it. So I think you're like, tend to play it much sort of like safer and less like experimental, because you've got so much, you're all in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and by the time you're done, you're hating it.
Yeah, you're in like a totally different place. Like, it's like, I'm not even like interested. Like, that's what would happen with that short film, is like, it would take me every time I stopped, because it was a ton of like, it was like over the course of the 4 years, like I would stop for 6 months at a time, like a lot, where I did nothing on it for 6 months. And
I had that with my film already. You know, I would stop for like a few months.
It takes a while to get like back into it and back like excited about it, because you're like, oh god, this is so much fun. I've got so much fucking work left on this.
Yeah. It's a beast. Just getting anything done for like a high quality, you know, super detailed and all that stuff. It's just, once you pass that 80% threshold, because like if I would say like 80% threshold, I would just release it now. Yeah. You know, but I don't want to do that specifically with that one. You know, even here's the thing that I kind of like about the struggle that I have towards finishing, or it's not really a struggle, it's just a shit ton of work. Is that I'm constantly learning new things as I'm doing it, and some of the shots that I thought, okay, this is gonna be quite easy, and I go into and it's like the most difficult thing I've ever done. Yeah. I was like, holy fuck, how am I gonna? Because like I would just sort of like, oh, this is gonna be easy. I would start building it, and then it looks like shit. Yeah. I was like, that just cannot be that way. Yeah. I need to change it, and then I would sketch something out, and okay, that's the shot that I want, and then I look at it and break it down. It's like, holy crap, how am I supposed to do that? Yeah. So that's kind of like frustrating, and it's like almost like a giant weight on your shoulders when you get to that point. But the positive part about it is like, once you start breaking it down and sort of like step by step making it work, all of a sudden it's like, holy hell, like I I've cracked it, you know?
Yeah.
And that just having that satisfaction of fixing something that seems unfixable is good. It's good to have sometimes, because I rarely do that at work. Like, you know, when you do work for clients, most of the time you're relying on the skills that you already have. You know, it's very rare you would experiment with like, oh, let me try this new software on that high budget project with tight deadlines, you know?
Yeah. You're not gonna do that. Yeah, I think it's like you definitely can like learn like different things like working like that. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it's too easy to like get lost in like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, all of a sudden you spent so much time on this like fucking like 2-second shot that it's sort of like, okay, the like value that I'm adding to this shot versus the amount of time that it's taking is like, it's not there. Like it isn't. It's one of those things like, I don't know. It's definitely a trade-off, and there's obviously it's just a matter of like preference or whatever. But
that's true.
For me, all
of it is preference.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's just preference. There's no like, you know, obviously right or wrong here. But for me, it's like I'm more excited about the first part of it than the last part of it.
Yeah, it seems to me like you're more of you're like sketching and coming up with ideas and sort of like basically flowing your mindset into a canvas, whether it's 3D or whatever.
Yeah.
And then once you see, okay, it's kind of shaped itself to what I want it to be, then you're not spending that time to like, oh, let me see if I can change shaders, and like, yeah, you don't give a fuck about that at all.
No, it's definitely like, I mean, obviously with the everydays, I don't have time to like tweak those things.
Yeah.
These are just like very much sketches. This is something that's like a couple hours, like start to finish, totally done like in a couple hours. So it's very much a sketch. And sometimes it doesn't look like it because the like tools now and the like the assets and stuff are like so sort of like progress to a point where it's like in just 2 hours you can create something that, you know, looks decently finished.
Yeah.
But it is very much still like a sketch, that it's like, okay, to me a sketch, it has nothing to do with like the actual finished project. It's like how much time did you like sort of like put into it, like
yeah
at least for the like the stuff that I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dude, how many years it's been since you... I remember we did 10-year anniversary with you on your everydays. That was like 20 years ago.
How old do you think I am? I'm 62 years old. No, it'll be 13 years in May.
That's fucking crazy. I'm trying to avoid this subject of everydays, because it's just being like, anytime someone has an interview with you, they almost always ask about that. What interests me the most is not the subject of everydays, but you know, last time I think we talked about it was you've mentioned that, you know, you kind of cracked the code of, because you used to do everything from scratch, and you would always obsess, like you almost felt like that's the way to go all the time, that you always have to, whether you would do exactly same shot, you would even then start from scratch, because like that's what you felt that needs to be done.
Yeah.
But then like you went into the idea of like, hey, maybe there's certain things that, you know, over 10 years I've built enough assets to, like, there's always I can repurpose some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Why restricting myself to building process if I can just come up with ideas and just kit bash the elements that I know going to be there, and I don't need to design them.
Yeah.
So that was the last time we spoke, but since then, you know, there was definite shift, and you kind of explained why, but there was definite shift in terms of what kind of work you're putting out.
Yeah.
Because it's the work you're putting out is way different than the kind of work you would do for a concert, you know.
Oh yeah.
And all of that stuff. But
it's definitely way different than the work I was like everydays that I was doing.
Yeah.
Like,
What made you to make that decision?
That's the thing. And that's where I think like a lot of people are sort of like, I think they try to like, it seems like they try and like, I'm going to do this type of work. And I think like if you just start doing work, you'll do like, it will come out. Like it wasn't like a conscious
You're making
choice.
it flow, basically.
Yeah, you'll just like, if you just like are in tune to like making what you want to make, then you'll make what you want to make. I don't know. Like I think it's like sometimes people get in their own head of like I'm gonna like make this certain thing, and it's like that's where I think having a deadline every day, where it's like that choice is removed. You're gonna make something. Right. So then it strips away that piece of it, and then it's like, well, then just do what you want to fucking do. And so there was no point where I was like, I'm gonna start doing shit like this. It was just like, all of a sudden it's like, well, I guess I'm doing shit like this now. I guess I'm fucking titties on this. I guess I'm making fucking, disgusting piles of goo now with fucking Jabba babies or whatever the fuck, like weird shit like that. It's like whatever is like can get me like most excited to like put a lot of energy into it. Like that's the thing. It wasn't like a year ago, it was like, I'm going to start making all this fucking weird, gross shit. Like that wasn't like a conscious thing that I like thought. It was just like, oh, this weird gross shit is the stuff that I'm like super fucking feeling right now. Like that's what I'm gonna make. And that's where I think like when you're making something that you're like super excited about, like I think people can like tell that. Like people can inherently tell that you're like, you had fun making that and like you put a lot into it versus like, I'm fucking phoning it in. I didn't really fucking feel this shit. Like, I think people can, like, inherently sense that. And that's where I think, like, if you're making the things that you specifically exactly want to make, like, it will resonate with more people.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
But you did mention, the idea of making things more digestible. Because like as you said, like when you were doing it every days, the people that would look at it as like, oh, that's cool, would be mostly artists, right? Or people who are into what we do. And like I'm asking this because I've noticed one thing, and this is sort of like my lesson from working in the film industry and looking at what kind of films are being produced, what's actually successful in terms of like, well, you can define what successful means, right? But let's assume successful means a lot of people see it and pay money to see it, right? Sure. Let's just assume that that's the baseline of successful. Sure. Commercially successful, yes. And I've noticed that sort of like that trend line of something being commercially successful usually distills to recognizable.
Yeah.
Something that people can just recognize and be attached to, no matter what that is. Like if you look at Marvel movies, in most cases, people are attached to the idea because it's been existing since I don't know how many years, the comic books and whatnot. And obviously Marvel made a certain amount of effort to put like the quality bar in terms of like what kind of actors they're getting, performances, the amount of VFX, directing, script, all of it is hitting the mark on a certain baseline.
Sure.
That's better than most. They're not, when you look at Marvel movies, it's not like Blade Runner or Alien, or Kubrick movies when they're like, oh my God, those are masterpieces. Like, no, they're not. But on the other hand, they're not making kind of movie where the VFX is amazing, but the story is complete shit, which a lot of movies are done that way, where you watch some of the films like, wow, it looks amazing, but the story and acting is just like, I cannot stand it.
Yeah.
They kind of nailed down the baseline that is just good,
Yeah.
And it makes me think about art too, because the quality doesn't mean popularity. I kind of noticed that.
I think it's
in a way, like
I think it's one of those
debatable.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things where it's sort of like, what are you defining by quality?
Right. Okay. So when I talk about quality, it's a contentious subject, because like what I'm thinking at is it feels like it feels that there's certain bridge that a lot of artists don't cross or avoid, which is this giant gap between art, like a regular artist audience. Like, let's say regular artist audience would be someone who follows, my work or your everydays, right?
Sure.
And then that bridge between that crowd and regular public.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like going around words,
I think I know what you
explaining
mean.
it in my Polish way.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean. I think,
and I don't know if that's the quality subject. Like, to me, it's like I'm trying to figure out the mindset that a person will need, like what kind of mindset I need to go to in order to see if I want to cross that bridge, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's where I think some of the things that I've done that have resonated with people who aren't into like art so much. I think it's because it's like, and a lot of times what I'm trying to do is make something that you don't need to be into art, and it's just like, whoa, what the fuck? I've never seen that before. Like,
right.
Like I'm very much trying to put in a whoa, what the fuck? I've never seen that before element to it, and that's what I think like connects with people. Like last night, it was like, I want to do a picture of a bunch of like Jabba the Hutt's babies, like in a disgusting pile of like goo, like the babies, and
right.
like afterbirth. like that's something that I personally never seen before. Like,
right.
I maybe there is some like fucking Reddit like Java baby afterbirth goo piles like that I'm not aware of, and there's a whole community of this on 4chan, but I'm not privy to that. But so it's like I'm trying to make something where you can just glance at it and be like, well, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Versus I think a lot of artists are more like, they're don't put as much energy, or their focus is more on the like craft versus like some crazy ass weird idea. So
right,
it's like,
yeah.
It's like a picture of like, somebody like a dragon or something, or a guy on a horse or something like that. And it's absolutely fucking beautiful. And they spent like hours dialing in the like fucking values and the fucking composition and the like this or that. And maybe it has one or two elements that's like, that are different and new and like push things forward. And it's like, oh man, like that type of like armor or something like that, that's like really cool, but it's way more like in the weeds. Like you have to have seen like a bunch of concept art to know that it's like, oh man, I've never seen like a fucking shoulder thing like that. Or I've never seen like a fucking gun on his arm like that. And it's really dope, but it's like, it's something that you have to have like a ton of knowledge about this space already to be like, okay, that's cool. That's fucking different. It's not something, if you show it to the average person, they're not going to know why other art people would think that's cool, because they haven't seen enough stuff. They're going to be like, yeah, it's a guy on a horse.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like they're just gonna be like, yeah, it's a guy with a dragon.
There's a certain threshold of quality.
Pictures of guys with dragons. Versus my stuff, it's like, well, I've never seen a picture of a fucking baby Jabba the Hutt like fucking covered in fucking placenta goo shit. Like it's very much something where I could explain, like just in a few words, you can explain like, I could just tell you the concept and you've never seen that before. You've never seen a picture of that before. Is it as technically proficient as like the guy on the horse with the fucking thing? No, it's absolutely not. I'm focused. I put a lot more of my focus on the like crazy fucking idea, like weird idea, because that's just what I'm like more interested in right now, is like getting those fucking weird ideas out versus the sort of artisticness of it, I guess, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. It's like looking at, the way to compare it would be looking at sports, and you can tell, okay, this team is better than that, and maybe this player is like an MVP of that team, right? But you don't know the nitty-gritty details of their like daily workout training and meal or whatever structure, right? That's sort of like the beyond your level, something that you've never been even interested with.
Yeah.
But even if you were, you like, once you just so that's sort of like what artists do. It's like you look at a team, an MVP player, and then you go into his fucking morning routines,
Yeah.
Which makes sense. One of the reasons I'm asking this, or even going around this subject, is because I feel like the whole industry is sort of in this spot, or it's always been in a spot up until recently, where you would almost have like a stigma that you have to do things in a very specific way, and that's where the trends are. It's moving from 2D to 3D, and if you want to work in films, you have to be photorealistic. All of those sort of like assumptions that most of the community would be going after, and obviously assumptions were there for a reason. That's what was paying you. I mean, that's what the projects were most of the time. But I feel now, in past maybe 2-3 years and moving onwards, the whole thing is changing, and there's just way more opportunities to do different things and really craft your own style without following trends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like, as communication platforms like Instagram has like, I think things have changed a lot in the last few years versus years prior, is because you're able to like see so many more people's work. Like, I look at the number of people like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the number of artists that I like followed and like I could name as people that I like as artists. You're talking about like, I don't know, a dozen maybe. And now it's like hundreds of people that I can follow them super easily and be influenced all over the world by all these fucking crazy styles, and people that it's like, that do, you know what I mean? Like concept stuff. Like, I can go on ArtStation and see all this crazy fucking concept art from like games and films and blah, blah, blah. And I can go on Instagram and see all kinds of like crazy fucking weird design stuff from like, clothing designers and blah, blah. And I can see all this shit. And like there's just so much more like fucking inputs coming in, and you're able to follow artists like so many more artists and like so easily. Like, because again, before social media, it's like, if I wanted to follow you, I'd have to like keep going to your website. Like, that's it. Did Mache do anything? Okay, no. Okay, well, I guess I'll
some
come
people
back
had blogs,
3 days later. No, did Mache do anything? Oh, cool. Here's this thing. And then maybe I forget about you for a while. It's like, oh, fuck, I haven't seen what Mache's doing. And it's like, oh, fuck, like 3 months ago he posted this thing and I missed it. Like, so it's like, if you think about it, it's like it was just like way, way less efficient and way, way harder to like follow like a wide group of like artists. And then it's just like, just finding you. How the fuck did I find you? Like, I don't know. Versus now, it's just like, oh, you like Mache? You'll probably like fucking Aaron Beck. Here's Greg Broadmoor. Here's blah, 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 blah. Here's JC Park. Here's da, 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 da. And so it's like super quickly you can like get into this find similar people, and it's like, and they know with a great deal of certainty that it's like, oh, if you like Mache, you'll almost definitely like this guy, and if you like this guy, you'll definitely like fucking Ash, and if you like that, blah 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 blah. So it's opening to different
communities. Exactly, and it's opening to this different audience of people that want to do projects, and they need artists to help them out. And those are, like, as you said, you get those weird one-offs that, like, where is that coming from, you know?
Well, that's where it's at. Yeah, some art director can be, like, following me very easily and be like, oh, we should do, here's a weird idea. Let's do this guy for this thing. And it's like, I feel like there's more and more, like everything. And I think there's also more and more, like, just things being produced, and things need, like, it takes more because we work in like a visual platform, and that's the way you get people's attention easiest is by like showing them a picture, showing them a video, like that can easily get their attention versus other ways of trying to explain or communicate something. That's why I think there's like just such a huge need for, you know, visual people to like do. And I think that's only going to increase like as we're sort of like, I think the competition is going to increase. I think there's going to be a bunch of people in China. Like there's like now, like if you would have asked me like a few years ago, it's like I couldn't name like almost anybody in China, like designers or whatever. Now I'm following a shit ton on ArtStation. Every time I go on ArtStation, there's like 20 more fucking like Chinese artists dudes coming out of there. Like, what the fuck? This guy is like fucking insanely good. Yeah. So it's like, I think that's gonna like explode, but I think at the same time, like that whole market will open up to us as well in terms of like people, you know, 20 years ago, how the fuck would they ever like hear about you in China? Yeah. Yeah. Versus now you could have like a fucking shit ton of fans in China or whatever. You know, they've seen the Marvel movies, they've seen blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so I think it goes sort of like both ways. I've actually got to jump on another call here real quick, buddy, but
no, we can wrap it up actually. It's fine. We've covered a lot of grounds, man. We can follow up, maybe do another one very soon. Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump off in a bit anyways, because there's another one I'm doing right after.
Yeah, you got fucking 13 today.
Yeah, but dude, you're invited anytime. Let's catch up.
Dude, here's what we need to do. I tried to get fucking Ash. He's a little fucking goddamn son of a bitch. Let's do me, you, and Ash, because Ash is a little fucking bitch, and it's like, wham, I'm so busy. This fucking what did I try to get him to come out to some fucking thing? It's like, bro, you have no idea how like fucking crazy my schedule is. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Everybody's fucking busy. Yeah, dude, talk to my.
I'll organize it.
Shut the fuck up.
I'll organize it. Let's make a podcast or something.
Goober to fucking come on. We'll do a freaking sweet stinky three-way. We'll fucking lube up, do a fucking three-way.
All right, I'm down. Dude, baby, I'm down for that. You know that.
You know I'm down for that.
Sounds good. Sounds good, dude.
Coolness. Thank you for fucking having me on. Always good to like talk.
Yeah, nice catching up as always. It's fascinating. Like there's just so many grounds. We could probably talk for like another 4 hours on that shit.
Talk for like hours for sure, dude. For sure.
But I know you've mentioned you have a call before, and it's just you lose track of time.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's wrap it up here then. Where people can follow you? I mean, it's not like you need more followers.
Just type in weird gross shit. That's my aim. You just type in weird gross shit and my name comes up. You can't do it now. Now you'll find some actual weird gross shit.
Yeah.
But one day maybe. One day.
Yeah, some of the recent stuff is like sometimes I open the feed and it's like, what the fuck am I looking at, dude?
That's what I'm trying.
But it's fun. It's fun.
That's what I'm aiming for.
All right. Anyone who is enjoying this, obviously subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment if you don't like it or like it, whatever. Do whatever you want, man. And then you can follow beeple_crap, right? Pretty much everywhere. Yeah, Instagram, Twitter. I don't know where else you are. Behance and fucking all over the place. Your work is probably everywhere too, because like most of your everydays are like Creative Commons, right, or something like that.
Royalty free. A lot of them.
Yeah, some like famous people using your shit. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, dude, fun times. Yeah, I'll talk to Ash. We can definitely organize.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right.
Knock it out, dude. Take it easy. We'll talk soon.
Take it easy, guys. Take care. Cheers.
Bye.
Cool. We're done.
Awesome.